Hey guys, Theron Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing another exciting podcast tonight. Tonight we're doing another preview podcast for the Major League Fishing BFL Ozark Division Tournament coming up this weekend on Lake of the Ozarks. We have Mr. Dave Holbrook with us this evening. Dave got a top 10 finish last year. He's from Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, so very, very excited to talk to him this evening. He and I have already been chatting before this podcast. A lot of great information coming your way. Before we get started, as always, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. That way you get notified when all of our content is dropping. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, Revital Outdoors. And if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, we're a premium CBD company for all outdoor enthusiasts, THC-free, made right here in America. Check out our website. You can order the products there right now. Also, if you're interested in a pro staff position, you can fill out our pro staff form. Real quick, next week, we are going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma for Red Crest 2022. Make sure you come by booth 2214. Got a lot of great promotions going on. Going to show off all the new products. So that's it for the housekeeping items. Let's get right into this podcast. Mr. Dave Holbrook from the state of Missouri. How are you doing this evening, bud?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. So thank you for taking time to come on board with us this evening. Really great to talk to another top 10 angler previewing another BFL tournament this year. So let's talk about your tournament last year. 7th place, top 10 finish. I looked up your profile on Lake of the Ozarks. Man, you've got a great reputation around the Ozark community, especially Lake of the Ozarks. What do you like about the lake so much?
Well, the lake's pretty predictable, but here lately with the weather that we've had, it's kind of been up and down. This is normally a stick bait, A-rig, and finesse jig kind of lake, and it's been that, but there's not been a consistent pattern. You got to kind of bounce around a lot to figure out what's going on the lake right now.
Okay. So, yeah, I know about that jerkbait there on Lake of the Ozarks. I think a lot of companies have tested jerkbaits and stick baits on that lake specifically because the fish react to it so well. There's a very healthy population of stripers that live in that lake. So, stick bait, A-rig, jig, what can go wrong on Lake of the Ozarks?
That's right. These guys are running the live scope and stuff like that. They're hard to beat when they're bunched up on them brush piles, and they'll throw that A-rig out there. I'm just not a scope guy. I'm like 50-some years old, so I'm not in the Atari and the video game age. So it's kind of hard for me. I'm getting better at it, and you have to be good at it to compete with these sticks down here. But last year I caught my fish on a jerkbait consistently. I threw it all day, 8 hours a day, and was able to bring in the fish. This year, I did the same thing in the Toyota series, but I wasted half the day on the jerkbait and didn't get a fish on it. And I picked up this little finesse jig right here that you see, and I caught that 6.2 on it, and ended up weighing in a total of 21 pounds, I think, at the Toyota series. But they were definitely on the jerkbait. Here's a Vision 110. This happens to be the Table Rock Special everybody loves here. But that's what I caught them on last year, was the Table Rock Special. And I thought it'd be the same thing this year. But when I got in that Toyota series here a couple of weeks ago, I wore the paint off that jerkbait and didn't catch anything. Caught a couple crappie, of course. But I pulled out that little finesse jig right here, a Texas crawl finesse jig, and with that little orange on it. Because crawls right now, that's kind of what they look like here on the lake. And the fish were kind of more on the bottom than I thought they were going to be. That's why they wasn't hitting my jerkbait. A lot of those smart guys, smarter than me, they put a lot of weight on that jerkbait when they figured that stuff out early. So their jerkbait was getting down there a little deeper. But I know there was just a team tournament here on the lake. I think 24 pounds, Hibden and his partner sacked in 24 pounds. And a lot of those fish are on jerkbait and a jig, of course. But 24 pounds, 5 fish, you can figure out that average. That jerkbait's still producing.
Absolutely. You just picked up a little spider finesse jig. Really notorious bait there for the Ozark Lakes, Table Rock, Lake of the Ozarks, Grand Lake, Beaver Lake, that kind of area where those lakes are. You got the little bit of orange on the pinchers. That's awesome. Very, very good finesse style bait. And then the jerk bait. So talk to us a little bit about this jerk bait bite. Vision 110 by Megabass is a suspending jerk bait. It's one of the better suspending jerk baits on the market. You say these guys are weighting the hooks a little bit. That bait to me, when you're fishing on 8 to 10 pound test, goes to maybe 8 to 10 feet. Are they trying to get it down a little deeper? And if they are, why are they not throwing the +1?
Well, a lot of them are going to the 6 cents too, because it does get a little bit deeper. But these fish are 6 to 8 feet. But here this last weekend, they were up almost in the dirt, 2 to 3 feet. So you got to kind of keep both of them on your deck, a little weight on the belly. I don't put them on the hooks. I put those suspender strips on the belly if I need to go down a little bit. But, a lot of these jerk baits, it's the motion of the ocean, if you will. It's those guys are pausing it and letting it soak. But if that weather gets a little bit warmer, they're twitching it a whole lot faster. So it may not get down as deep when it's warmer because they're really moving that bait a little bit faster than I would this time of year at 39 to 41 degree water. I'm jerk, sit 3 or 4 seconds. And then when you get ready to move it again, that's when you can feel it. So I don't think they want a big bait. This Vision 110 here, you can see it's probably about 4 inches or so, 4 or 5.
4.5 inches. Yep.
Yeah, they get much bigger than that because that's why, a lot of people are starting to make their bait smaller. A lot of pressure on this lake, a lot of cold weather, a lot of pressure. It's making people downsize. I've seen people on their decks with a jerk bait, about 2 more inches taller, higher than that. Now I don't know how they placed, but maybe that's where they're trying to get it down even deeper with a different type of jerk bait.
Right.
But but the fish, what we're finding here, and a couple guys I've talked to, is as they're moving back into these spawning pockets, they're kind of on them secondaries now. It's got deep water close by. That's kind of a typical thing everybody's going to say. But it's kind of the rock size that I'm keying on. You got pea gravel mixed with rock about the size of your fist or a little bit bigger is what I've noticed on. And a couple guys I've talked to is that's the rock. That's kind of the rock they were catching their better fish on. Because I'm used to looking for that black rock you hear about here. It's the big head size rock you see on the bank, a little bit steeper banks. But that's not been the case for me here over the last couple of days.
Okay. Is that rock that you're targeting? Just out of curiosity, I know Lake of the Ozarks is a really good point lake. It's also got a few docks in it. Is it really something special about the rock, relating to the docks or the main lake or secondary points, or is you just got to run and find that special little group of black kind of medium chunk rock?
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to do a lot of running around because if you've got wind, you got to get on the side of the lake where the wind is, and you just go back into those shallow main lake pockets. Because if you get back too far in these arms, these creek arms, all these docks and some of these longer points will block the wind further back. And that's kind of why I like to kind of stop short right there on them secondary points. Don't have to have docks on them. I mean, it's even better because you can cover that whole point with a jerk bait. But I did catch that 6.2 on a point to the left side of a dock, and it was on that jig. So I was focusing on points the whole time. I ran a lot of points, but it was a lot of waiting in line because once I figured it out, I was probably a couple hours late. So I was waiting in line behind guys that already hit that with a jerk bait with some good hammers, knowing how to throw a jerk bait.
Absolutely. So just out of curiosity, throwing that, finding that rock, we've kind of talked about that. You talked about the baits. Lake of the Ozarks is notorious for being a clear water lake, but there is areas in it where the water is going to get a little bit stained. Are you looking for stained water? Are you looking for that happy medium? Or are you staying in clear water?
Well, I'm fishing from basically PB2 to the dam. I don't go past the Gravois arm, but I don't go in the Gravois arm because I kind of want that medium, as you were saying. Because if I go back in the Gravois, you're going to get a little bit clearer water.
Mm-hmm.
And as you move out on the main lake and then some of them pockets that get a little churning from the lake and that wind blow, you're going to get a little stained. It's still clear. I mean, you can see your jerkbait, as you're coming through there, but it's not as visible. And that's when I want to go to the natural colors. As it gets dirtier, a little dingier, this is going to be dynamite, but I'm also throwing that shad color Vision 110 because of the clear water and the sunshine, you get a little bit of that glare. I've tried the translucent jerk baits because that was a big bait about 3 weeks ago. And I just couldn't get bit on that translucent. A lot of people say when that water's crystal clear like that, that's all they'll throw is that translucent bait. But I like a little natural color to it when it's clear like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that Vision 110, that's a notorious bait on Lake of the Ozarks. I remember back in 2010, I was fishing an Everstart Series tournament, and the Vision 110 was still, just brand new, kind of popping up here and there. There was a bait shop, and I don't remember the name of the bait shop, but they had the Vision 110, and it had just come out that year. They only had 2 colors, and one of the colors was French Pearl, and the co-angler that was leading, he actually ended up winning the tournament, but he had 27 pounds the first day. And he got up on stage and said, I mean, I'm sure he was shell shocked and all that, but on the first day he gets up there and he talks about, I'm fishing this new Japanese style jerk bait. and you can find it at this bait shop. Just want to thank them for helping me out. And I remember all of the boaters, like, we're going to the bait shop. And then the next morning, they were talking about, man, those things are like $27 a piece.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But they still bought them off the shelves. I mean, French pearl's a good one as that water gets a little bit dingier too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, Dave, one last question before we let you go. Very, very, like I've mentioned, you've got a very, very good record, fishing the Lake of the Ozarks. What if a co-angler's watching this and he wants to, just take 2 or 3 rods with him and have a good time in the back of the boat? I know this is going to be a finesse presentation answer, but if you were a co-angler in this, what would you suggest taking?
I would recommend that he put on this jig, which is 5/16, and I'd also put in a 7/16 also, because as the boater's moving, it's kind of hard for them to get some good flips and stuff. So he may need a little heavier jig than I would throw from the front of the boat, so I'm not dragging him past the dock. But I would definitely have that jerkbait on, because if you jerkbait fishing, you normally got a little bit of open space beside you. So, but I wouldn't try to match the same color the boater's throwing. Because, you may not get hit on that Table Rock Special, but if that guy behind you's throwing that shad, that flash may just grab it. So I would have a jerkbait on. I'd have a little heavier jig than the boater, and then always throw that A-rig, and the back of the boat was built for A-rigging. I mean, you just sit back there and throw no matter where you want to throw that A-rig, no matter what the boater's doing, you're good as long as you don't get hung up. Them things are $10 a piece too. Not counting the swim baits that's tied on.
Not counting all the swim baits. There is one thing else I'll suggest with that jerkbait. You just mentioned color earlier in the broadcast. You mentioned something else that guys are doing that you're not sure if they caught them on. I'm not going to repeat it because it's a little known secret. But if the co-angler is watching this, rewind to what he was talking about, what Dave was talking about earlier, and there's a little secret that he gave away there. That's all we're going to mention about that. So, well, Dave, very, very great to have you on board with us this evening. Before we let you go, I know there's a lot of people that support you. You've got a great family. I saw from Facebook, a lot of people that help you out in the area where you live in Lake of the Ozarks. Anybody you'd like to thank before we get off here?
Yeah, number one sponsor is my wife, Jenna, and our company, James Watson and I own a real estate company at Fort Leonard Wood, and it's Realty Executives at Fort Leonard Wood. We're getting ready to open up an office here at Lake Ozarks called Realty Executives also. So I just want to thank the franchise, Realty Executives, James for being a great business partner, and of course my wife for allowing me to fish when I can.
Absolutely. Dave, one last thing before we let you go. I believe you're a veteran, correct?
Yes, I am. 30 years.
Well, thank you for your service to our country. Thank you to our service to humanity and everything you get to do. It's because of you and the people like you and James Watson. He's a veteran as well, that we get to enjoy the great sport of fishing the way God intended. That being said, before we let everyone go, check out our website, revitaloutdoors.com. Again, we're a premium CBD company. We make awesome premium CBD products for all of the outdoor enthusiasts. But if you are a veteran, please shoot us a message. We give all veterans 50% off across the board. Shoot us a message if you're interested in our products. We'll get you set up with that discount code. And again, just thank all the armed men and women out there for your service. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, you've been talking to Mr. Dave Holbrook, again, a top 10 angler from last year on Lake of the Ozarks, the BFL Ozark division. Good luck to you, Dave, this year. Good luck to all the anglers fishing this year in the BFLs. We hope to see you on again this year, because that means you're having a great tournament year. And God bless. Be safe out there, and we'll talk to everyone very, very soon.
All right. Thanks, Revital. We appreciate you guys.